Welcome back. So this is the third video in doing Salesforce development and administration with Claude Code / AI tools. This is going to build off the first two videos. If you haven't seen them, check them out. They're on my LinkedIn and YouTube. First video, I created a car object touching the user interface at all. I created validation rules, fields, tabs, etc. The second video, I created a screen flow also without touching the UI, and also made an invocable Apex action to call an API and then retrieve information, safety information rather, about the car that we were working on. So this next one, I have a small prompt. I'm just going to show the user story creation process because I think this is also something important to show, at least as far as scaffolding a story. If you have a request from the business, this is a great place to start. I would say I strongly dislike working entirely AI written stories in my actual job as a consultant. So please refine them and review them, but I just wanted to include this. I'm going to kick it off and get it running, but yeah, it's super powerful tool. All these tools are. I've just been working with Claude Code for personal projects and have had a great time with it, but I've used Codex and Gemini at work and they're awesome. So let's see what it's asking. It's saying, I'm going to say NHTSA, use the existing Apex class. Should happen async. It should know that already. Run async. You can't run callouts synchronously. They have to be asynchronous in Salesforce. On a trigger, only accept like 999, and then conflict handling. We overwrite. Cool. I know why it asked me so many questions just now. Like a lot of the time, I think I probably could have just let it continue and just said, use your judgment, but that's fine too. So what it's going to do is it's going to go, hopefully if it goes to plan, make a record triggered flow and call our Apex class from the last video and then save that data to the car record when it gets updated. Want me to, yes, I'm going to tell it to continue, build the flow. Looks like it found our Apex class, the NHTSA safety service, which is this guy that opened over there. Too many windows. So it's this invocable that retrieves safety information. It performs 3 different calls and retrieves all that data for us. Sweet. So there's a to-do list. Cool. Looks like it's running through trying to understand the data model for this car object, seeing what the API names are for those fields. We only gave it the labels, so like make your model. We didn't give the API names, but as you can see here, it looks like it found them all. And yeah, let's see what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. One nice thing that I've been learning about, and Claude will actually create a file with this information for you, but you can create like a memory file, which that's just what Claude called it when it made this for me in the past, but you can provide instructions that sit in your project that it will refer to. So I just have a few here, and these are specific to this project. Some of these I wouldn't use, but basically just giving it a shortcut. So I'm telling it always use the JS maintenance org, which is the org I'm connected to now. If you're working with an org over the CLI, always deploy without asking. This is just like a developer project. I don't care. And for the sake of these videos, I want to make them quick. So I'm asking them to deploy. And then if I ask it to open a flow, I told it just open the flow directly. You can open flows with CLI commands if you're curious how that works. And then lastly, just always add fault paths to flows. And it looks like it needs some information. I'll just tell it yes, it can create this field. It looks like it wanted to create a field for storing the error. In reality, I'd probably tell it to just write the error to the safety information field, or actually more realistically, I'd probably use a logging framework like Nebula Logger and write a log file and link it to the car object, but that's okay. For the sake of this video and keeping it concise, I'm going to just keep going. So it wants to build the flow and hopefully deploy it. So I'm going to let it build the flow. Looks like it's deploying it now, and the new field for error tracking. So let's see what happened. Did it work? Oh, no. It looks like it ran into an error. But Claude is badass and will figure this out for us. So let's see what it does. Yeah, other general tricks you can do. I don't know if this is a trick, but be very specific with what you're requesting. Yeah, Claude's updating the entry criteria so they're valid for an async flow. Be very specific. If you're not specific, you're less likely to get what you want. That's the way it worked before these tools, and that's the way it continues to work, is you get what you ask for. And if you're vague, you probably won't get exactly what you're looking for. I suffer from that. I think everybody does. All right, cool. So it's giving me a rundown of the flow. I don't particularly care. I'm going to ask it, open the flow. We're just going to review it in the flow builder, and then we'll run a test and see how it goes. Look up flow ID. Okay, it looks like it's grabbing it. It's going the long way around, but I think it did it. Sweet. It found our flow. Let's see, entry criteria. Yeah, some of these might not be necessary. It's checking if make, model, and year are not null, and then it's making sure the year is between 1,000 and 999. And I know I didn't say that right, but whatever. I think it's because how I told it to format the year, that it has to be 4 digits. So that's probably why it did that, but that's fine. We can disregard that. And then lastly, it's checking if any of these fields changed. So that looks good. It's calling our invocable and passing the make, year, and model. Our Apex class returns a Boolean or checkbox called has rating. That's either true or false. So if it's true, that means it found something. If it didn't, that means it didn't find any safety information. I actually don't have access to this field that it made, which is why it's showing red. Since we're here, I'll ask it to add it to our permission set. Add the new field to our permission set for cars. I can't remember what I called that, but we'll let it go do its thing while we're working. And then, yeah, that's actually very bizarre. I don't know why it put an empty string here. Claude's not perfect. You would think if there was no rating, or if there was an error, it would write the error, but looks like it didn't do that for us. But regardless, this flow will work. So it's going to write the safety information from the Apex to the safety information field, then update it. You can see we have fault paths on components that can, or sorry, flow nodes that can throw errors. So these are all looking good. This is kind of weird, but it's capturing the fault message. I don't know why it marked the field up here, but for the purpose of this video, it doesn't really matter. It also didn't add a fault to this one, which, oh, you can change fault paths. Okay. Well, it looks like it's updating the car with the fault path message from the failure. But overall, this looks good. In a real scenario, you would update this. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to keep going. I do want to check if it updated the permission set. Cool. So it added it to our permission set, which is nice. I just want to be able to read it. I'll probably read it with inspector. Cool. Looks like it deployed it. Sweet. I'll also just tell it, add it to the layout. And I'll get access to write to the car layout. If it needs it, it should need it. Yep. And it should deploy that again. Cool. All right, sweet. So that was deployed. Now we can actually read that error field if something happens. Cool. So we'll go back to the video that I was working on. This guy. So it's for a 2021 Honda Civic 4-wheel drive. I'm going to duplicate it and put it in a split view just so you can see the difference in the safety information. So now I'm going to update the year. We'll put it to 2020. And then this should run the flow asynchronously. We will have to refresh, but it should be done by now. Cool. So it looks like it ran. Yeah, it looks like the 2020 had 209 complaints. This one had 125. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Once again, functionality companies would probably pay potentially thousands of dollars for, done in under 15 minutes with Claude Code on a $150 a month subscription. Follow for more. And I'll be back in a few days.